Have we got ya?
Connecting to audio. Oh, that looks like he can hear us.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hello, on, boys.
Hello, Harry.
We did it.
Hello, mate. How are we?
What are you doing with a shirt on?
I knew you were going to ask that. It's freezing today. It's been raining all week. There's pretty crazy winds going on at the moment.
Whereabouts are you? Tell the listeners at home, where are you, mate?
We're just chilling in my backyard by the pool. Got the newest edition. We got a freezer
The
here.
icebox.
Been spending a lot of time in that. Or just every day. Had it for about a week now.
Repping a bit of Bink Big merch there, I see.
Yeah, mate. Got to keep the sponsors happy.
What have you got?
Check out this bad boy.
Bowl Academy, killing it, dude. Yeah, so I love it.
We're gonna talk about the bowl cuts a bit later on. So
I've kind of really got much going on at the moment.
Harry meet Luke. Luke meet Harry.
Hey mate, how you going?
Hey, Luke.
I feel like I know you just through Nathan and the random merchandise that he wears that of yours, and the fact that I just see so much of you on social media and you share so much of your life, and you seem like one of those guys that like I already feel like I know, but I'm literally meeting you for the first time right now.
Yeah, nice. I probably share too much, probably more than I should on social media, but nice to meet you, mate.
Nice to meet you too. So we'll start off. Thanks for coming on the show. It's really good of you. We wanted to do this in person, but COVID just keeps knocking us back. So Zoom it is. We'll have to do an in-person thing eventually. But first off, what do you think when people say Harry Bink? What do you think they think?
Oh, that's a really good question, and it's honestly I don't really care because I used to try and think like, oh, what would this person's aspect be? A lot of people have different aspects or see me in a different way. Even like from my dad to a mate to my dad. But I remember for the first few years of like me touring with Nitro and that, it was just always, what are you doing this for? What are you doing? Why just don't do like you have to do it like that? Why don't you just do it like all the other guys are doing it? It's like sort of not really having any before I had any type of reputation or anything like that. It was always like, what are you doing that for? And then the stuff that I was doing kind of ended up working out for me. And there was also stuff that worked against me, but I had a lot of fun along the way doing it all. But to answer that question, I feel like it comes down to the individual and what they kind of choose to see in me, because I kind of try and target a lot of areas, whether it's like just staying like doing yoga, meditation and all that side, to partying and carrying on, to doing lots of fitness, and renovating my house, or kind of whatever aspect. So if you're a female looking in, you're like, oh, I don't know, they might see different stuff as well. Like they might go, oh, they might see the yoga side of me, or I feel like I have a lot of different sides of me. It just kind of depends on the individual.
You definitely do have a lot of sides to you. I noticed the biggest thing I notice is that you do send it when you go out, but you're always the first one up the next day in the fitness, in the gym, hitting it hard. So I don't know how you do it, because I have one beer and then try to go to the gym the next day. I can't do it.
Youth.
I only hit puberty last week, so still.
I doubt it. So I wanted to ask Nathan the same question. What do you think people think when they hear the word Harry Bink?
So I've known Harry. We were going to get into like Harry joined the Nitro Circus back in 2015 as just a kind of, he was doing a hometown show in Canberra and impressed all the right people, and has been a full-time member of the circus ever since. So we're going to go into that story a little bit later on, but I've kind of seen the kind of metamorphosis and the kind of almost like the chameleon Harry Bink kind of changing over the last kind of 6 years since I've known him. Once upon a time, I would have probably described him as a guy who guys want to be and girls want to be with, and I think he's kind of matured a lot in more recent times, and And I think it's so great what he does for action sports now, because if you follow him on Instagram, on social media, you see how much work and hard work he puts into, like, how many hours a week do you train, do you reckon, at the moment, Harold?
I never keep a logbook of anything, and I always mix it up. I always just try and if I have a set criteria, or if I even keep a logbook, I kind of I probably should keep a logbook. But to answer your question, I don't know. I just kind of if I have time to do something, I will do it. And I kind of I eat myself up in guilt if I am just sitting there doing nothing. So it kind of end up doing something all the time.
So
But
you had
roughly I do train every day, like every weekday, and then try and get in the yoga sessions a couple times a week as well, like to stretch and all the conditioning stuff.
You had a post today, actually, which I thought was really interesting. I just want to read it. I just want to pick your brain about this.
He just liked it too.
Yeah, I liked it earlier, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. This is on the Bink Big page. I've taken a big step, staying very loyal towards my fitness this year. Thank you to all the amazing people that have made my journey so enjoyable. We're just getting started. Let's go 2021. I would have always said your physical fitness has always been a huge part of kind of your life since I've known you. I think it's more you've kind of evolved a little bit into looking after the mind a little bit more, right?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. So when I said loyal, I just mean before this year, I've never eaten clean or stuck. When I say stick to a diet, I'm not on a specific diet at the moment. I'm just not putting any shit in my body. I'm eating lots of veggies and like heaps of veggies, like a couple kilos, or probably like 4 kilos of veggies a week. Because but yeah,
like a fucking giraffe.
Yeah, like the other night I ate a lettuce like an apple. A whole lettuce.
Iceberg?
Yeah, just chomp the thing down. But yeah, so and I've always partied. Ever since I was like 16, I've partied like nearly every weekend. Like obviously you have your weekends off here and there, or you hit it too hard for a period of time, and you say you're going to do a month sober, and you kind of pull that off, and then you're back into the old routines. But when I say loyal, I just mean I was struggling with a lot of injuries. One leg was like 0.8 of a kilo lighter than my other leg, so just like not was behind a lot in muscle and stuff. So just evening out my body a lot and getting on top of all my injuries, and then so I'm able to progress in my fitness and my riding. So I'm strong enough to hit this new big ramp that Nitro that we're trying to come off with at the moment. That's the latest project.
So by the time this kind of goes to air, you'll be basically a month sober, and you kind of just got no real plans to break that right now?
Yeah, so basically I'm just mixing up my formula. So obviously balance is everything. I've done things before where you try and do something and then you just end up doing it for a month, 2 months max, and then you kind of blow out and go back to your old ways. So balance and staying consistent is the most important thing. But yeah, just not clocking into any like really big weekends.
You like that? The kids these days.
Like a fucking job.
Since New Year's, I did New Year's till Oz Day, and I planned to have drinks on Oz Day, and it was fun. But I think I just have that much other good stuff going on in my life at the moment. It doesn't the drinking kind of just doesn't even outweigh of how much good stuff I have going for me and for what I have to look forward to.
Yeah, because it was a pretty shitty end to your year. Like, I know we're not going to touch on it too much, but I wanted to talk a little bit about social media and, you being trolled a couple of times, and how do you deal with like that type of stuff, like some of the shit that's been thrown your way? There's obviously kind of two incidents that really come to mind is, an unfortunate, very public breakup, and then the goat controversy, which again, we won't talk about too much. But how did you cop some serious flack on social media, like almost lost sponsors? Like how difficult, what was that?
Yeah, it was very unique. When I say unique, it was just like can go two ways. You can you're obviously as tall as your temper.
Yeah.
If you're gonna, and social media is the last place to be putting that stuff as far as anything goes with just any of your life problems. Like even like with people's life problems, even just talking about mental health in general, like people are like, oh, it's okay not to be okay, speak up. But like I have some simple rules that it's just like if you have a problem, have a 7-day cooling off period. Write down your problem, do everything you can for 7 days to try and overcome it. And if you can't overcome it, then talk to someone or speak up. People have like a mood will come over them of an afternoon and they've posted about it before they can even hear themselves thoughts or whatever it is. Even like anything to do with a relationship, I have like a 30-day cooling off period. So whatever your opinion is to yourself, just even to your partner or whatever it is, like write down your problem or whatever it is, and then reevaluate it at the end of the time period. Also, if you're having depressed feelings or whatever it is, right, like be aware of what your problem is and don't drink for a month and then see if you still have a problem. And then people's problems have already brushed over and they've already solved their problems. So I have like a few little formulas from that I stuck to myself in the early days that I've just been sticking to. And then when these bigger problems gained or came across, I just have my cooling off period. I just go, okay, I'm not allowed to just sit here and wait for 7 days and then assess it. So
It's
like let it soak in.
we've heard so many different coping mechanisms. This is a kind of new one. How did you where do you learn that from? Like it's a pretty
100%, 100% myself, because when I was when you're first younger, dealing with like chicks for your first time, you don't know how to. You kind of call, like when you're going through your early 20s and you're coming into your first proper relationships and stuff, you have problems, and then you kind of even target, like sometimes you'll think that the chick's a psycho or whatever it is, but it's usually just your dramatic decisions. You have a decision one day and then the next day. So it's just like whenever I got in a fight with a chick, I used to be like, fuck you, then like attack him. But then I made a thing to myself, whatever my answer is, whenever I say something, it has to, that answer or that meaning has to stay the same for 30 days.
Okay.
I like that. It's a really good, it's a really good theory,
so if
formula.
you're like, if you're fucking pissed off at your chick because I don't know, she's just whatever has happened at the end of the day, and you go to call her a mean name, you have to mean what you just said to her for 30 days.
Yeah.
Or even if it's the same with compliments.
Yeah.
Fuck that, like, fuck, I love you, you're the best girlfriend ever. You like deep down, you have to believe that to yourself for the whole 30 days. You're like, am I going to believe what I just said to this person for a whole 30 days? They're like, nah, she's going to be a cunt tomorrow. I'm not going to be like, so hold back on those compliments. Or same with the negative, just to be more of a consistent person.
I'll just set the table just a little bit. I'll just have one more question about this because I want to find out how you did use this formula. So Harry had a pet goat and treated that goat like just a great pet, and the RSPCA, the do-gooders, the politically correct people just relentlessly trolled you and went up to the point where you escaped to Bali, right? And was that your way of kind of adapting your cooling off formula, instead of like you were like mercilessly trolled, like stuff we've never seen before for an athlete? Like we were really worried about your welfare. How difficult was putting in those formulas and practice into place during that period a couple of years ago?
It was a really good learning curve of that thing. Obviously, I never understood how powerful the internet was till before that. And then obviously like going just from growing up in Canberra, pretty basic, and then moving to the Gold Coast, getting on Nitro, traveling the world, and it was kind of just like I could do anything, and it was good, but like I was still very respectable and wasn't doing anything too gnarly. But then for something to go wrong that easy, I was pretty amazed by how much it got blown out. If I had done something bad and I knew I was a bad person, or like I knew I did something bad, and like, and I would generally, that would have affected me a lot. But because I knew everyone around me, like everyone knew that it was just a blown out thing on social media. So it got gnarly because you had your vegans saying, Yeah, do everyone a favor, hand in the goats, go kill yourself.
Yeah.
And there was so many comments, like people wanted to see
Public
him
comments,
dead.
public comments
Yeah,
saying like wanting Harry's head on a platter. Like those animal activists, like they're the people that are like they triggered so easily. And that was a few years ago, and young Harry was just kind of blowing up as a kind of absolute FMX superstar, and he just kind of won Nitro World Games gold medal, and you just had to shut up. It was a traumatic time, and I think for us it was hard watching a young kid go through that. But I think, you know, using those formulas you had, like that's obviously one of your big coping mechanisms. And it's actually why we ended up getting you on the podcast, was because we were together a couple of weeks ago in Brisbane, and I just really we hadn't seen each other for 12 months, and I just really noticed a positive difference in your mental state of mind. And one of those things we talked about was the Good Human Factory and your kind of relationship and partnership with Cooper Chapman. Can you tell us about that?
yeah, cool. So to finish that goat story, obviously it sucked with sponsors, and then I wanted to I didn't want it to affect. I wanted to do everything I could in the situation to make it better, but I also learned that it was just all keyboard warriors. Like if they were actually serious, someone would have showed up to my house or something, but
Yeah.
it was just all internet wars. And then another thing I did was I just observed. I observed it as I wasn't in it. I observed it like it happened to one of my mates. And
Yeah.
I kind of just laughed at it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then
Interesting
got
again, right?
got off social media for 2 weeks, and then oh yeah, I went to Bali for about 10 days. Yeah, flew over there and just didn't. I deleted all the apps off my phone so I couldn't click on them.
Probably the
And
best.
then I just let it brush over. But as I said, whenever I go through something, even when I'm shitting myself on my dirt bike to do a gnarly stunt, whenever I'm in like a moment where I'm like, fuck, this is fucked, I don't want to be in it, I observe myself as a third person.
Yeah.
And just go, I laugh at myself. I go, oh, look, are you scared? Look at this scared little kid
And
sitting in front of a ramp.
observe yourself as a third person.
Yeah.
How could you not be even more scared?
Yeah.
And then I just go, oh, like, oh, you scared? And then I just go, oh, good luck, brother, and just enjoy the ride and just fucking go do it.
That guy sounds like a bit of a prick.
Just little ways so you're not just trapped in your own brain, or trapped in. That's what I tell myself anyway. Yeah, just so I'm not trapped in that one vision or that one side of the situation.
How old are you?
26.
26.
Yep.
What wise, eh?
Yeah, pretty wise for a 26-year-old. Like I from what I've seen, you have gone through a lot, but the fact that you have all these,
I don't see what that at all. I fucking feel like I've been on I've had it so good. I'm killing it.
Yeah, but your outlook on how to deal with mental health, it just seems so advanced for a 26-year-old though, to me.
But it's actually basic. It's actually really fucking basic.
It's so basic.
It's just whenever you have problems, go, okay, this happened this way. I just take emotion out of heaps of stuff. I used to be very emotional and it affected certain ways.
Yeah.
And then I learned how to disconnect emotion from stuff and looking at everything as a third person, not being so like, so you don't take anything so you don't take stuff personal, like, or try not to.
Do you think part of that is you being an elite athlete, a professional athlete who's, you know, you've spent a lot of time on the sidelines, like you had 9 months on the sidelines with your shoulder reconstructions and then broke your femur straight away. You recently did a post about all your injuries. Like, has that time off the bike helped you kind of reflect like that and come up with the plans to kind of deal with the adversity?
Nah. When I had all the injuries, when I broke my femur, I was living in a party house with 2 of the boys, and we just partied that one out. I didn't even stop one bit with that injury.
Kids, don't try this at home.
Because I got a rod put in. If you do ligaments, you have to look after it. Like my shoulder, I know I was training a lot, but I looked after it. Like I wasn't partying too much with my shoulder. But with my femur, because it's just a bone, they put a rod in. So I was walking on it within a week. I would actually get drunk and walk on it because I knew it was breaking up the scar tissue and triggering all the muscles in it because it's got a rod. So you can't do damage to just a clean snap bone by using it. So
He's sounding a little bit more like a 26-year-old with drinking through an injury like this, right?
yeah, that was an interesting one. But anyway, so that was yeah. So to answer that question, no, I just but doing what you love is your fuel. So your passion will overdrive anything. I believe money's such a shit illusion sometimes because people go through their days, how can I make more money, this, that, this, and they kind of chase their tail. Um, but it affects their thoughts or what they get out of themselves in the day. Like my currency is putting in however much energy you put back into the universe, that's the strongest currency there is. But putting energy back into the universe, to other people, to yourself, whatever it is, that's like the strongest currency. So me coming up with all these morals is just me putting energy back into the universe. And that's like a way more stronger formula. And if you do all that stuff right, all the money and the rest will come with it, with work and stuff like that. But doing what you love is your fuel. So then that's how I've gained all the other side bits of knowledge.
I feel like this might be a good segue into talking about what you briefly showed us in the background there, which is your ice baths that you've been doing and your meditation and stuff. Has that had a big sort of part in that sort of putting stuff back into the universe that you're just talking about?
Yeah, that's putting stuff back into myself. But that's just calming. Some people service their cars. Meditation is servicing your thoughts.
Yeah.
Your thoughts can get very rapid. You can wake up and you go, I got all this stuff to do, and you kind of got all these things on your mind, and you kind of jotting from one activity to another, and you're not like when you're doing one job, finish that job and then move to the next job, and then you can motor through them. But when you're trying to do too much stuff at once, you just do a whole day of fucking around and kind of. But
Sounds like me today.
Yeah, but when you meditate, you literally just categorize everything. Everything has a section. I have more time. I can take on more stuff. I can think more. I'm really bad at multitasking. Like I am. At the end of the day, I'm actually super basic. I'm very basic, as anyone on Nitro would know. But I kind of just don't give up on things. And then that's how my formula kind of helps me. I believe.
And meditation's like kind of new to your regular routine, is that right?
Yeah, I've been doing hot Bikram yoga, which is basically the formula of meditation because you're meant to be controlled breathing for the whole hour.
Yeah.
So that's been going on for 2 years now, that's what saved me. Man, hot Bikram yoga is the most strongest, powerful thing I've ever the most powerful tool I have in all my training and everything I do. Hot Bikram yoga is the strongest. But I've been meditating for a year and a half now, and it's just so good. They say a 20-minute meditation is equivalent of a 4-hour nap.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure that's what they said.
I like it. We don't fact check
Yeah, but like if I just do it to when I'm just got to like when my thoughts are just going triggering, or even if you're feeling like a bit like anxious or like whatever it is, you just meditate and you just like sometimes like when you're by yourself and you're like doing stuff, and then I meditate and I like feel like I get the same release as if I've just hung out with 5 people or like a couple people or a mate. Like, you're like just been working heaps and then you go catch up with a mate and you're like, oh, sick. Like that was a nice little release. I can go back to working now. When I meditate, I can get that same feeling.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, obviously, no one says a bad word about meditating, but I feel like meditating works for different people in so many different ways, doesn't it? Totally. It's a kind of another way it works. Hearing Harry describe it like that.
Definitely, it's like the analogy.
Fuck, big word, Harry.
Two dudes at war watched their best mate die. One of them had the biggest grudge on life and hated life, and then the other guy seen it like he was so lucky to be alive, and it turned him super grateful and swapped everything and helped everyone way more.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, so just whatever,
That sounds
yeah.
like you might be using the Calm meditation app by chance. Would that be correct?
Nah, I don't. I heard Miley Cyrus say it in a podcast,
Okay.
and I
Wait, what?
downloaded it. I heard Miley Cyrus talk about the Calm app
Okay.
He heard
on
you.
Joe
I think
Rogan.
he just wanted you to talk about Miley Cyrus again. I think.
I just wanted to make sure you
I
say
love
that again.
it. She's the best. I loved her after listening to Joe Rogan's podcast just because of how real she is.
Hey, that's a good segue. Like, who is your hero?
Travis Pastrana.
Who
Tick.
and who is Travis Pastrana to you, and why is he your hero?
I grew up watching him on everything on like on all these DVDs as a kid. That's all I ever wanted to be. I never thought I'd meet him. And I just watch these DVDs over and over again. And like as a kid, people always say to you, like, oh, if you could hang out with one person, anyone in the world, who would it be? It was Travis. Like my goal was to go to Travis's house one day and just like go to his house or just hang out with him for a day. Just because I loved his just his vision on life, and he made the impossible to seem possible. And it was just obviously like as kids growing up now and they see him as a family man.
Yeah.
But I grew up watching him in his prime, like the whole way through, like just a savage. And to even to reset that now, anyone else who I like really looked up to or vision, the only kind of stuff like I take my hat off to David Goggins. I love that crazy mentality. He's awesome. But just like more mental health stuff and just how I'm still learning lots. I'm kind of resetting a lot of not resetting, but just still watching and learning and
well, you're
listening to lots
growing up as well. Like you're a public figure, and you've always been very public in your public figureness. So I think a lot of people who have been following you since like well before your first Nitro Circus show have kind of grown up with you. Like what you have a couple of 100,000 followers, and I think anyone who follows your life would know and see the changes in you. And you're still definitely that crazy lunatic kid. You're just a little bit older and wiser.
Yeah, it's even like so the conversations I have with myself from a 20-year-old to now like are insane. That's the craziest thing. Like when you look at the 20-year-old or the to 26, like as you said, I'm still the identical kid. I still ask the same dumb questions. But but the thoughts that I have to myself and the way I talk to myself is just so different. But like when people watch me, they see me like they'd still see me the same, obviously, because I am still the same and everything like that. But just when I go to just the conversations I have with myself and how I treat myself, and I feel like I have so much more time in my days. But now when I ride, and now when I always used to be an amp rider, like just like just scream at myself, like, and I was just so in the moment, like then or never. I'd barely ever practice anything. I'd get it like the trick once, and then I'd just go, "Yep, Nitro, I can do this trick," and I'd be straight on a plane going to do these tricks. So now like I have my airbag and stuff. I'm trying to perfect my tricks and just doing them heaps of times. So even though they're the biggest gnarliest tricks, like now I get in competition and stuff, I'm trying to do them all the time to get them comfy, and then keep moving forward into the next chapter of our sport. So when I put on my helmet, I'm trying to just have this calm, consistent focus instead of just this amp focus where I was kind of just running on the limiter all the time and doing bare minimal riding. Now I'm trying to ride for longer periods of time, but notching it back a bit, slowly getting that up to a higher level.
Such a crazy insight into like the mind underneath that helmet is just so interesting. And like every one of those professional dirt bikers is risking life and limb every time they jump that 75-foot gap, and they all kind of deal with it very differently. And like Travis in particular says, like if you're not nervous and scared, you that's when you're at your most vulnerable to get hurt.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
I was going to
And
ask.
from
Sorry, go ahead.
when you look at the nitro riders, like all the FMX guys, nearly every single one of them is like a different style of rider. Like, and you can tell by the way they talk about their riding. Like my favorite by far is Sheeny because he's just so blunt and bold, and he's just like, yeah, we'll just do it like this, then you dickhead. Like it's not that hard. Like just do it. Why don't you just do it like this? Like you know.
I like you pointing out. Sorry, Luke. I know you're going to ask. I like you pointing out Sheeny because has he been a bit of a role model for you? Because I would call him as like the first generation of FMX like athletes who really took their physical and mental fitness seriously.
Yeah.
He's a few years older and wiser. The first man to do the triple backflip. Like probably. I mean, not probably gnarliest thing ever on a dirt bike, and arguably the gnarliest thing in action sports. Period. What's it been like? Is he a bit of a big brother / mentor for you? Do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Sheeny's he was so helpful having him on tour, learning off him, watching the way like the stuff he eats, the stretching. He like there was so many times where we'd just get to a hotel and we'd go into the gym and it'd just be me and him working out and
Shirtless.
stretch. Yeah.
It's a
But
hot
yeah,
spot, the
Sheeny was
hotel
kind of
gym.
the only guy that was taking it really like seriously and doing everything proper. Which was really good for me. I learned so much off that, and he helped me a lot. Like when we went away, like going to X Games and things like that, he just helped me. Like just because I did not have the knowledge, and he was just he's brought up very well, and his work ethic's so good,
Yeah.
and it's just so bold and blunt. Like it's just this is how it is.
The unicorn.
I was actually just going to talk about, because you spoke about mental toughness and stuff there, and I can only imagine the amount of mental toughness it takes to get through some of the injuries that you had. I know Nathan probably knows, but can you rattle off some of the injuries that you've had in your career?
Yeah, so smashed my right heel and then got 20 screws re-embracing my right heel, and I also snapped my tib and fib in that same accident. Then I snapped my left tib and fib. Then I snapped my right tib and fib again in a different place. Then smashed my wrist, like broke all my thumb, and I have the plates in my thumb and in my wrist still. Dislocated my shoulder 35 times before I got it operated finally, because I got my dream contract on Nitro Tour and was super dedicated to finish the year, and started the year with 7 dislocations and then finished it with 35.
On most of them on tour, and Josh Sheehan, who he was talking about, was the guy who would put this shoulder back in place, and Harry would just finish the show. Keep going. There's a few more.
Yeah, and then snapped my femur after getting my shoulder fixed. And then I got the metal, those 20 screws and some metal work in my ankle and 20 screws in my heel and my ankle taken out, and a rod taken out of my left leg, straight after I broke my femur. And then that one hurt. Like getting all the metal taken out of your heel was pretty painful. But then, yeah, and other than that, I've had a few other good injuries, just like broken toes and scratching myself up, and a few good concussions and that along the way. But they're the main ones.
So it's quite the resume.
List. Yeah. What is it like? Does that kill you in the moment when you are sort of injured to not be able to do life the way you sort of want to do it? Does that play?
No, I don't. I just look at it like a challenge. Like, oh, I broke a bone or I broke a limb, and then it's just it's just another hurdle. Like it's not like if I had a really bad back injury and I was just stuck on my back, I'd probably my brain would just go nuts, and I'd have to try and learn how to deal with that. But when it's just a leg, it's just like, oh, cool. I'll walk around and I can still go train my upper body. I can still do all upper body stuff. I can still progress in that. It's just time to get stronger in other areas, and then and work on other things, whatever it is. In saying that though, there's only so much time you can kind of go through the injuries. Like when I had that whole year of injuries and now into COVID, I'm kind of running dry. I'm not running dry. I've been as you can see, I've been focusing on myself a lot, and I've got heaps of projects, and I got enough stuff to keep me busy and pumped and entertained still, but I am getting very eager to get back to touring, and it's just making me get more and more excited.
Yeah.
I think it's a very common trait for all of these guys. Like a doctor will tell Harry or Travis or Jared McNeil, it's going to be 6 months off the bike, and the first thing they'll say is, "I'll be back on that bike in 4 months." They are driven like no one else. I think, to me, it's like the most dangerous sport. That and Supercross, it's the most dangerous sport in the world, and they're just kind of these really humble. A lot of them like just country kids from Australia, and we're just having to produce the best FMXs in the world. It's so sick. They're all my great friends. It's so great hearing some of these amazing stories. We never answered the Good Human Factory, did we?
No, I think we skipped over it. We'll get back there.
Hey, I'll just turn the light on real quick.
Yeah, no worries.
There's this.
He skipped over your question. He deflected and
deflected.
He hadn't finished the goat story.
And finished the goat story. There's this. Whilst we wait for Harry to find the electricity, there's this classic story from Travis Pastrana at X Games I think it was about 12 years ago, and he was trying to do the double backflip 360, basically the TP roll it's called. And he's in X Games best trick. He slammed so hard, the bike landed on top of his foot. He ended up breaking I think 36 bones in his foot and lower leg and ankle. And what he did was, whilst the adrenaline was still running, he jumped back on the bike, rode back around to the start gate and said, "Sorry guys, I'm doing this trick. I'm trying this trick one more time. I've got to do it before this foot is really hurting and the adrenaline runs off." And he did it and crashed it again. And it's like one of the legendary stories that makes Travis Pastrana who he is. And I think that's a big reason why guys like Harry look up to him, because that's still one of the gnarliest stories in the history of X Games.
Yeah. Well, you didn't hear that story, Harry, but I think you know the story.
I heard Travis.
Yeah.
Travis.
So we'll get back to it. I think you hadn't finished your goat story earlier, which is why we didn't get to Cooper Chapman and his Good Human Factory. But you're an ambassador now of the Good Human Factory, yeah?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really exciting what Cooper's doing. Cooper is showing that he's getting all these cool athletes, all these cool, whether it's Instagram personalities or athletes, on board, just to show all the young generation that Instagram isn't as pretty as it seems. The lifestyle isn't pretty as it seems. Even when you see all these people, it's like these kids have watched these figures go through their everyday life, thinking that they don't have to make any decisions, whether should I go take a shit now, should I eat my meal, like they just kind of see them as like these effortless floating characters that don't have to make any decisions, and just I don't know, they just think that like everything's just, they just think that they don't have jobs, and they just kind of putt through, and they don't really they never have any sad feelings, because why would they? They're this figure. But it was just trying to really show that everyone goes through the same emotions, no matter who you are, no matter you're Justin Bieber. Like, it was really cool that Justin Bieber shared that thing saying that he had, I don't think he said he had depression, but he said he was not like in a good head state. And things like that. And it purely comes down to how much you work on yourself, I believe. I know there's like carpenters that are the most happiest people on the planet. Because when you go to rest at the end of the day, if you haven't earned your rest, like it doesn't work properly. It's not how the brain's made to work. And Cooper's just doing a really good job of trying to emphasize that it's not like we have to post about our problems for people to know that we're human, but he's just trying to show that we do spend a lot of time focusing on ourselves, whether it is in meditation and stuff like that, because you'd be so surprised how many people do meditate on a daily basis, but they just never talk about it. There's more stuff getting talked about than the bad stuff than the good stuff. Like on social media, it's terrible. Fake news spreads 6 times faster than any real news.
Oh, yeah. Where'd you get that statistic from? I like stats.
I just read it.
You made it up?
That was on the Social Dilemma.
On
Netflix, Social Dilemma. Fake news spreads 6 times faster than real news. That's just that was on that. But
how do you meet Cooper?
Hey,
How'd you meet Cooper?
at, just through all the boys, through Alex Hayes. Yeah, I met him through Alex Hayes when we were just all at a party one night. But yeah, kind of just seen him around on like social media and stuff. Just
Yeah.
him being a pro surfer living on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, he's
It's
from
all
our
pretty.
hometown of the Northern Beaches, so that's why we've followed him
Oh,
for a while.
sick.
So I was so stoked when I seen both you and R Willie in the space of a week become ambassadors for a guy who we've kind of drawn some
We've been
interest.
chasing.
Yes.
We've been chasing. So put in a good word for us, mate, to get him on this podcast, will you?
Yeah, of course. Cooper's wicked. He'd love to. He's a yes man. We have a lot in common,
Yeah.
and yeah, no, he's a good dude.
What's next? What's next for the next little
Wait,
bit?
can I just quickly say, Nathan wrote down some questions and stuff to give me a bit of insight into it, and he wrote this, and I think it's a bit lame, but I'll go with it. He wanted me to ask you what's the next Bink thing, like
The next
big,
big thing.
big but Bink.
Yeah. Did I write that?
That's a
You
good.
wrote
That's a
that?
good.
I think that's pretty
a good
good.
question. Obviously, like how I said, I've just kind of been focusing on building all my strength up and get my body back in the best condition I can. So I can go back to being a savage and taking hits. Obviously, I want to be a lot more calculated now, but I've also just built my dream compound. I've got this big airbag. I got this massive ramp there. And there's lots of time to be spent on it. I still haven't jumped that big ramp because I tore some ligaments in my knee and things like that. But I see myself as like 50% through my riding career. So I have 50% still to complete, if not more. So I want to, but I really want to work hard, and I don't have any limits. I don't have any goals whatsoever. I'm just setting a formula of and obviously falling in love with the formula, but how I've been training and how I've been the journey I've been on. I want to fucking just go, keep steady, keep consistent so I don't burn out. But I want to do this for as I said, I'm 50% through, so I got another 50% to go, and I want to just really push the boundaries and see what's possible.
Let's put a shameless plug in there. He's all systems go for the October 23rd and 24th Nitro World Games at Suncorp Stadium in his home state of Queensland, and that is kind of that's not just a big focus for Harry. That's kind of the big focus for the action sports industry in 2021.
Yeah.
So get your tickets now at Ticket.
Yeah, that obviously is my biggest focus. That's why I'm training so much at the moment. There's no other big event. There's no other like there's no other competitions, nothing this year. This is the biggest thing happening. And as you said, it's happening in the hometown. There's been last year was a whole write-off, no events. I was injured the whole year before, so I've got a really good comeback to live up to, and yeah, it's gonna be massive. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm training right now for it. So I started where I've never trained ever for. When I say never trained, I mean I've always been on tour and flown from a show straight to an X
Never
Games
trained like this.
Yeah, I've never had downtime, a month's downtime before a competition. So I've only ever I've been on Nitro Tour, and I've flown into the event with whatever tricks I could already do. Other than Nitro World Games, when I learned that when I did that front flip rock solid flip, I had a month at home, went on tour for a month, and then went into the competition. So I was still a bit rusty being on tour for a month before it, but this time it's a whole year at home leading up to the event, so there's no excuses.
Action Sports Olympics, and instead of like 2 years ago when they all flew directly from I think Denver or Anaheim into Sydney and rode Sydney X Games with jet lag, borrowed bikes, skateboards, and BMX pads. So yeah, it's going to be so great to see all these guys. And I'm excited because I get to be up there in April with Harry doing a whole bunch of promo stuff. So we're going to do some other cool shit, which we can't really talk about now.
It's got the makings of a Cinderella story, like a year off injured, a year off with COVID, and then a comeback in your home state for Nitro World Games for your which is the birth thing of your biggest hero of Travis Pastrana.
It's a Hollywood blockbuster.
Yeah.
It writes itself. You can Tic Tac.
I'm not paying. I'll get tickets of you. Well, it's been sick talking to you, dude. I didn't think we'd talk about Miley Cyrus or Justin Bieber, but you snuck that in there.
Yeah, I might just squeeze them in.
I know Nathan has been really looking forward to having you on his little baby podcast, and I've definitely looked forward to having you on here. And
it's an epic thing you guys are doing.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks, mate.
It's a great thing that you're doing too, and just to talk to you and hear your insights on mental health, it's so far advanced to what I knew at 26 years old. So good on you for that.
Yeah, Harold, buddy, thanks for taking the time for this. I owe you a call tomorrow to nut out the Brisbane contract, so let's do that tomorrow, buddy.
Talk business.
I love the shit out of you, mate. I love what you do on the bike, but I love even more what you're doing off the bike. So keep spreading this brilliant positive messaging you're doing, dude, because you are changing people's lives in a positive way, and you are literally the definition of a good human. So thanks, buddy.
Oh, you're a legend, mate. I appreciate it, man. It means a lot hearing that. It's nice to touch up on it because a lot of the times you do come up with all these scenarios and it's just you and yourself having these thoughts. And it's cool to share them with you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, and we can send this to your dad when it goes live as well, and he'll be stoked that you're doing some good stuff on social. shout out to Paul. He's a good man.
I don't know how much. Because I always throw so many analogies around, I think when I do throw good ones, he just kind of is so used to hearing that many, he doesn't know what ones to take in. I'm like, no, I promise, like, I'm onto it now.
I've nailed it.
These are it. So from an outsider looking in, you're like getting the end of my analogies, but he's been listening to my analogies the whole life.
Shit.
So he's just probably like, whatever, another analogy. It all just blends in with the rest of them.
Well, I'm sure he's a very proud dad, dude, and just like we're proud of you as well, dude. So keep doing what you're doing, and love you, buddy. Thank you for coming on and chatting and giving some great insights.
Epic, boys. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Cheers, man. See you later.
See ya, Harold.
See you,
Bye.